Here we are, guys, off on another adventure. We're actually starting out here at Lake William Hovell. Some of you probably recognise this spot. It's fairly recognisable. We've been here a time or two, that's for sure. It's one of my favourite places to come and visit. And yeah, heading off this morning. We're heading down to Top Crossing Hut, which basically is down past Sandy Creek, which you would have seen on some videos on the channel. So yeah, looking forward to getting back out there. This one's a solo trip, and what a cracking morning it is to be heading off. So yeah, just starting off on the track that wraps around Lake William Hovell, which you know, I probably won't film that much of this between here and Evans Creek because you guys have seen this a time or two before. So yeah, this was the first major change. This little hill here, after you cross this little concreted ford, was always a spot that would give you an indication of the track conditions. It used to be a sort of a clay hill that if this was wet and slippery and difficult to get up, then you knew what you were in for. Looks like they've come through and blue metalled this whole thing. It's honestly like driving on a paved road now. Yeah, pretty crazy. And then you're back onto the normal surface once you crest that hill. So I get they do these kind of things for emergency services access. But yeah, that's certainly changed things markedly. So yeah, the turn off there to Evans Creek track on the right. As I said in the intro, I'm sort of skipping a lot of this track because I've done a lot of videos in this area and you guys have seen a lot of this track before. Really just concentrating on the bits that have changed, like this bit coming up right now. Holy cow. So we're on the lake track, and I'm just coming along the section that used to be like a riverbed. They've got crusher dust and blue metal here. Looks like it's been here a while. It's starting to rut a little bit. There's a few little rocks starting to get re-exposed, but since I was last here, which was only a few months ago really, they have well and truly come through and graded this and taken a lot of the rocks out, in keeping with other sections earlier where they've put the blue metal and the gravel down. They're really trying to make the access here a lot easier than what it has been in the past. You know, which I get, but it's also a bit of a shame. Little camping spot there has been bollarded off so that people don't cross the stream in the wrong way. And yeah, not much water in Evans Creek today. And we have literally got a concrete section of road, literal concrete, to drive out on. Wow, so different from the rock crossing that we used to enjoy with a little bit of a challenge. You know, I get that, you know, it was an obstacle that turned a few people around, but yeah, wow. Yeah, once again, look, I understand that these kind of things are done for emergency services access, which again is needed for all these areas. I mean, you've only got to look at the 2019 bushfires. Buckland Spur track just there on the right, by the way, as you saw on screen. But at the same time, it's a shame to lose these little challenges that make these tracks sort of unique and interesting. But it is one of the few access tracks in this area, and it does need to be trafficable by emergency services without too much difficulty. If they need to get in here, they're clearly going to need to get in here. So yeah, I'm guessing that's why those works have been done. So yeah, pushing on here past Buckland Spur, heading towards Sandy Creek, basically working our way along the southern side of Lake William Hovell. And yeah, this is kept this footage in because I often get asked, you know, what do you do if you meet traffic coming the other way? Well, you find a way around. These guys, the front vehicle had already pulled over a fair bit. and they've seen me there, and they're just going to back up a little bit more and create a little bit more space. This is not a super wide track. You can see I'm pretty close to the edge there, but it's surprising how much room you find. And the one behind them pulled over. You can see there in this shot, you know, driving reasonably close to the edge, but you know, it's a nice stable bank, so there really wasn't an issue doing that. And yeah, we got around them without too much difficulty. Sure, this isn't the most narrow of tracks, but yeah, just thought I would include that in this footage. So yeah, it's a pretty easy drive along here. Cracking little campsite there just on the left, right on the King River. Probably going to get a lot more popular now that the access is so much easier. Right on the river there though, the cracking spot. And you sort of go up over this hill as the track deviates away from the river a little bit, cuts the corner, and then we head down towards Sandy Creek. We're not going across at Sandy Creek today because we're heading to Top Crossing Hut. Well, we'll be crossing today, but not right now, later on. So yeah, this is the Sandy Creek crossing here. Straight ahead is Sandy Flat, I should say, not Sandy Creek, Sandy Flat. Straight across there. And Top Crossing Hut is up here on the right. Now you can see this track as we're coming up at forks. The right hand fork is to Top Crossing Hut. Left hand is to another river crossing, which I hadn't checked out for a few years. Last time I crossed this way was in the Padge, and the river was a little higher than it is today. That was back in 2021, early days of the channel, and I just wanted to have a look at this and see what it was like. So here's the footage from 2021 coming the other way in the Padge. You can see the river's up, and yeah, she was a bit of a submarine, but did the job and got out, and then we were greeted with this muddy, wet, slippery exit, which we ended up winching to get up. Tried the max tracks, there was no way we were driving that. You can see here a campfire. People do camp both here and next to the other crossing spot. So yeah, they're not big camp areas, but certainly room for a couple of vehicles, nice and level, and again, right on the river. So coming back this way, she's a sharp turn. Swinging wide to give the 76 the most opportunity to make it around, but I don't think we're going to quite get there in one wheel lock. That's okay. Times like this, you know, there's been a bit of discussion on the channel in the comments about my trips towing. Times like that, you're glad you're not towing. It does complicate things having a trailer on behind. I will be doing more trips towing, but this is not one of them. And as you can see, the track here climbs up from the river. You can see there on the left of frame the river down quite a ways from where we are, so it's a good steady climb up here. Now look, one time I was driving this track, I actually met one of those Fiat trucks, or are they called Fiats? Not sure. Anyway, those big four-wheel drive trucks that some people drive, not the Silverados and that, literal trucks. I just can't think of the name of them right now. If I remember it, I'll put it on screen. And yeah, look, it's a pretty easy run along there, and it's not too long before you start descending back towards the river. And there are two crossings that you know, not counting Evans Creek, because that's barely a crossing at the best of times, and you know, certainly today barely got the tyres wet. So yeah, descending here to the first of the two river crossings that you need to make of the King River to get to Top Crossing Hut. These two crossings are typically not as deep as the Sandy Flat crossings. So again, popular little camping spot there on the left hand side, and this is the crossing to Top Crossing Hut, the first of two. Today none of these crossings are very deep at all. As you can see, good visibility through the water. Nice rocky base. And not very deep at all. Certainly have driven this when it's been a lot deeper than that, but that was the conditions on this day. So just for reference, this was filmed early November 2024. And I should mention as well that this track through to Top Crossing Hut is one that does not seasonally close. So this is a trip that you can do any time of year. And once you get through that first crossing, it's a pretty short run down along the riverbank, and the track parallels the river pretty closely, particularly this last section, before sort of making a 90-degree turn and heading across the King River once again. And we're just coming up to that now in about 100 metres. You can see the river down there on the right hand side where some of the larger trees are, closer to the water source, of course. And yeah, another really nice crossing here. This is a wide one. Again, tends to be shallow, this one, because it is so wide. And water just like a pane of glass there, particularly today being very low. Nice view down the river there as you cross. Absolutely cracking spot up in here, and as you can see, look, so shallow today. The water's clear. You can see exactly where you're driving. There's no concerns doing this crossing. No need to walk it beforehand. At that depth, certainly. And then once you make that crossing, it's a straight run then down to Top Crossing Hut. Sort of follows the bank pretty closely, and does climb up and down just a little bit from time to time. Only a couple of kilometres, a little bit twisty in places, and because this is a one-way track, I don't think it gets as much traffic as some of the others, because it is one way in, one way out. The nearest option to head out is back at Sandy Flat, so by the time you get into Top Crossing Hut here, you're a good 5-6 k's. But if you enjoy, like me, visiting the high country huts, and this is a cracking little camp spot down in here, as you'll see, then this is definitely one that is worth it. A little bit of a climb, but yeah, certainly not a difficult drive, this one, by any stretch of the imagination. There are times, I guess, when the river's up that would make it a difficult drive for those two crossings, and obviously those times you need to make your own decision as to whether you want to cross the river or not, based on your vehicle and the conditions at the time and your level of comfort. But it really isn't too long at all. I think we're just about to Top Crossing Hut at this point. This is the final approach here down into Top Crossing Hut. It's quite a spread out campground. It's not that big, but there's certainly a number of campsites, and I've never seen it that full. Today in particular, there was one camper right down the far right hand end. There's the long drop toilet just on the right hand side there. You might have caught that before it went out of frame, and the hut straight ahead basically to the left there. So that's one end of the campground, sort of straight ahead there. Quite a large area, broken into a couple of sections where you could find a spot nice and level, nicely grassed. Just a great place to set up camp, and some spots there behind that bush along the river, and likewise along the bushes there as well. Hut's just on the right, and you can see that camper down the end. Hey guys, so here we are at Top Crossing Hut. Cracking little campground. It's not that big, but it's rarely overpopulated. You can see just one person camping down the end today. There's a long drop over behind the tree there, and you've got this other end of the campground down behind here as well. I think this one's been reclad at some point. That looks like mini orb. Been about 4 years since I was last here, so I'm guessing the Johnny Walker double black bottle there is probably empty. The fireplace and little suspended cot. The hut. So a few maybe wasps' nests or something. Wouldn't want to be around when they're around. And it's really close to the King River. You can see another little camp spot just there behind those trees. And just walking over here, you've got direct access down to the river here. Nice, easy little track. Better if you're not too tall. And it brings you out here right onto the river. Not exactly a beach, but and there's not a lot of water in the river at the moment, comparatively. Bit of flow through the middle there. Definitely a great little spot here where you could relax a little bit. Some quieter pools here to sit in, have a bit of a swim. Cracking little spot. And because this is one way in, one way out, you tend not to get that many people down here because people don't like having to turn around and drive out the same way they drove in. Well, there you have it, guys. What a little hidden gem Top Crossing Hut is. Thanks for watching the video. As always, like this video if you've liked it. Please think about subscribing to the channel if you haven't. We really appreciate it. And leave a comment down below. We'll see you in the next video. Thanks again.